All right, you guys. This video here I'm about to do is not intended to attack women or anything like that. Okay, this is about what's factual and not deflection or distraction or denying the reality. Right. So if you will be one of those people here that's going to get all sensitive about what I'm about to say, then I highly suggest you go find another video to watch. Right. Because I'm not about to sugarcoat shit. Right now. And shout out to Two Raw for TV and shout out to Tom Bennett Sports Entertainment. I saw the video in this. I wanted to give my twist, my take about the WNBA. Now, over the years, you've had uh, several WNBA players come out and be critical of their male counterparts, right? What's up, Superman? And in that, you had WNBA players making statements about getting the male counterparts in the NBA, right? Making the same kind of money they are, right? The truth of the matter is, no one is going to WNBA games. Nobody, right? Now, last couple of years, they've gone through this massive marketing overhaul. You've seen WNBA players being commentators about the NBA, whether it be the Candace Parkers or the Shanique Wnba, you right? You've seen WNBA players during All-Star Weekend. You've seen WNBA players on subsequent movies and TV shows and all that to drive up the market for their platform, right? Because their platform has lost money hand over fist every year. The only reason why the WNBA is in existence because the NBA has taken money from their pot and has pumped money into their pot. They've done all kinds of promotional sales to try to drive up revenue. They try to do like family packs for like cheap prices to try to drive up revenue. Like they try to put WNBA players in commercials, movies, what have you, and no one is going to their games, right? No one's going to their games. So when no one's going to their games, no one's buying the merchandising, right? No one's buying the concessions. So when you don't bring in money and you lose money, you can't turn around and complain that, oh, well, we should get the same revenue as the NBA players. But you're not bringing in the same revenue. Now, when you bring in the same revenue and then you're not getting the same kind of money, then okay, you got to complain. But when you don't bring in the same kind of money that the NBA is doing, then you can't complain about not getting the same kind of pay. And truth be told, Tom was right about this. That is kind of sexist. If you really think about it, that's kind of sexist to say that, well, I know we're not bringing in the same kind of money as the NBA players, but we should get the same amount of pay. It don't work like that. So you can't talk about equality, right? And then at the same time, complain about not getting the same kind of pay. We're not bringing in the same kind of money. That's hip. You're being hypocrites right now doing that. And then on top of this, why aren't more women promoting the WNBA? It should not be the men out there promoting the WNBA. Why aren't more women promoting the WNBA? You got Katie Nolan that's more WNBA games. Why isn't she covering more WNBA? So if they don't bring in the revenue and don't bring we get labeled chauvinists. We call out and call this out. Toward Nick Young, when all Nick Young did was tell the truth. Now, don't get me wrong. Swaggy P got some shit about him and all that, you know. But look, when he said what he said on Instagram, he wasn't lying. So, but that's what we do now. We deny and we deflect and we distract from the fact that the WNBA don't bring in the same revenue as the NBA. Come on now, that's being. Come on now, we supposed to be better than this now. We supposed to be better than that. For real. The truth of the matter is, no one's going to the game. Even before the pandemic even began, the run through this country the way it did, right? People were going to WNBA games. Hell, I'll tell you, there was a situation here where the Washington Mystics was playing in the WNBA finals, right? At the same time, the WNBA finals was going on up here in the DC area. Drake was holding a concert at the goddamn on Verizon Center. Well, right now it's Capital One Arena, but at the time it was called the Verizon Center, right? So the officials at the Verizon Center or at Capital One Arena made the conscious decision to put Drake inside the Capital One Arena, or the Verizon Center was called back then, and have the Washington Mystics play at George Washington University. Why? Oh, I know why. Because Drake was bringing in more revenue. Now, if the Washington Mystics was bringing in revenue, they would have worked out a situation where Drake would have done the concert at a later date. But the Washington Mystics wasn't bringing in revenue. No one was going to Washington Mystics games. Man, despite the fact that if you go to Giant, they had like a family pack of like 4 for like $25, right? And people still were buying those tickets. That's the truth of the matter. They've lost money hand over fist.
Brouhaha and all this outrage is about when they don't even bring the same kind of revenue. Matter of fact, they lost revenue. That thing's hanging on by a thread because of the NBA. So I don't know what the hell all this outrage is about. But they talk about equality. They talk about equality, but the same kind of revenue is not. There's no equal kind of revenue being brought in, but they talk about equality. You fucking kidding me? That's the truth of the matter. For real. So I don't know why everybody getting all upset and throwing it hands in the air and waving it like it just don't care and all that. For what they do, what the mainstream media do, or people on social media do, right? But when they don't want to hear the truth, they deflect, they deny, and they distract. Oh man, Nick Young be so he being a male chauvinist, man. He being misogynistic. For real. Ain't nobody trying to hear all that. When you bring in the same kind of revenue, right, then you can have the same kind of pay. But you can't have the NBA basically pump money into the WNBA and then complain about not having the same kind of pay. Can't do that. Now, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show y'all a statistic, right? I'm gonna show a statistic. Well, I'm gonna show. I'm gonna pull up a screen here in a minute. That's gonna prove what I'm saying. Cause see, I don't want to just talk about my out of my behind. I like to provide evidence. I like to provide evidence. So that way, what I'm saying, I'm not just talking out my ass, and I'm not being this, this misogynistic male chauvinist and shit. Now look at this. This is Medium.com, right? I think this is as of, let me see. This is as of November 5th, 2020, right? Breaking the glass, right? Look what it says. Without a shadow of a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, the WNBA players should not be paid like NBA players. It's fairly simple why this is when you think about it. You can make a case that WNBA players can be paid more, but some people are making an argument that they should be paid the same or at least similarly. Let's delve into the reasons why they should not. The NBA makes an exorbitant amount of money in comparison to the WNBA. Common sense. If one league makes extremely more money than the other, then those players should be paid more, right? More money for the league means more money for the players and vice versa. According to Wizen, the WNBA generates $60 million in revenue, while the NBA generates $7.4 billion. But you got WNBA players complaining about having the same kind of pay as NBA players, but they don't even generate the same kind of amount of money or whatever like that. But yet they're complaining about having the same kind of pay. That's, if anything, that's sexist. Shout out to Jay's perspective in the building, and no, the WNBA would not exist if it weren't for the NBA pumping money into the organization. So before any feminine call themselves coming on here trying to talk shit about, oh man, you being misogynist and all that, I will block your ass from here to Pakistan. So don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Let's continue on. With all due, and this is not to disrespect any WNBA player or and nothing like that, because that's not about that. It's about the truth, right? And we're not going to muddy the waters. We're not going to distract and deflect and deny from the fact that the WNBA just don't bring in the same kind of money as NBA players, right? You can distract, deflect, and deny your relationship with whoever you're dating, but you're not going to do that here. Right? We're going to stick to the subject of why does the WNBA not bring in the same kind of revenue as the NBA, but at the same time they're complaining about fair, equal pay. Huh? Huh? That's the question we need to that need to be answered. All the other shit y'all trying to do, I ain't trying to hear. All that other shit y'all trying to say, I ain't trying to hear. Right? And then for all you feminists out there complaining, why aren't you doing your part to help promote the WNBA? Huh? Let's tell the truth now. Let's tell the truth in this bitch. Yeah. Let's tell the truth. We not talking about nothing else. I don't want to hear nothing but no fucking chauvinism and all this other bullshit that try to, for y'all to try to come in and muddy the waters with. I want to know why the WNBA ain't bringing in the same revenue as the NBA, but yet they're complaining about equal pay. Huh? $60 million compared to $7.4 billion. Someone answer some. If you feminine, I did one of you feminists answer that question. Huh?
So let me get this straight. If we both working at a company, right? And I'm bringing in $100 million and you bringing in $10,000, but yet you want the same kind of pay as I'm getting, right? Is that what you're trying to say? Is that what you're trying to tell me? No, no, it don't work like that because you wouldn't want it that way. Ain't none of you feminists out there want it that way either. Where if you're bringing in the money and the male counterparts ain't doing shit, y'all be complaining about, oh man, they shouldn't get the same kind of pay. We work really hard to get that to earn that revenue. This shouldn't get the same kind of revenue because I'm telling you what will happen if the roles will reverse. So no, I'm sorry, you don't sorry, you don't have. I'm not going to defend that shit. I'm not. What's up, Alpha? Yeah. The NBA is drastically more exciting, right? And that goes back to why people go to the game. The NBA is more exciting and it generates more revenue because people are going to the games. People find the NBA exciting. People find the NBA entertaining. People do not, however, find the WNBA exciting. People do not, however, find the WNBA entertaining, and therefore they won't go to the game. So, why isn't more women out there promoting the WNBA? Right? I hear more women promoting the NBA than anything else. So I don't know what all this fake outrage is about. Hmm? For real. What's all this outrage is about? What's up, Big Metro? They don't bring in the same kind of revenue. They're not as entertaining as the NBA. But yeah, you got WNBA players complaining about having the same kind of revenue as NBA players. How? I want somebody to answer the question. All right, so addressing the comment in the chat room, I'm related to the WNBA. The Alpha asked me if yes, I did serve in the military. The rank of a doctor coming out of med school, you'll be an ensign. You have to work your way up to a commander. So once you come out of med school and all that, if you went through, say like you went through a program as an enlisted person, right? And you went through med school and you went through the LDO program, then you come out as an ensign. Yeah. That's what it is. You come out as an ensign. You work your way up to a commander. You come out as an ensign. You pretty much guaranteed to make lieutenant, provided you don't get yourself in any hot water. And then you go to selection board for when you want to attain like lieutenant commander, and captain, and all that stuff. All right. Hope that answers your question though, but I appreciate it. What's up, Marco Hinton? Now, back to the regular schedule program. I want to know, why does the WNBA feel that they deserve just as much money as the male counterparts, right? It's rare that you see women dunk a basketball. It's very rare. It's probably only happened. I know Lisa Leslie done it once. I know Brittany Griner has dunked a basketball. But truth be told, you don't see it's really not entertaining. I mean, I like basketball in general. And there's some women out there that can play. Let's not get the game fucked up. There's some women out there that'll put a man to shame on that basketball court. So we're not talking about talent, right? Because I already know somebody could try to come in and muddy the water and talk about talent, and we're not talking about talent. There's women out there that are extremely talented, but that's not what we're talking about. So you're not going to muddy the waters with that. We're talking about why aren't they bringing the same kind of revenue? Now you have more women on TV than men, right? Why aren't women like Molly Karen and got that on Rachel Nichols, Jenny Taft, and Joy Taylor, right? Why aren't these women doing more to promote WNBA? Huh? Katie Nolan, another woman, right? She's always at the Super Bowls and the All-Star games and all this other stuff, right? Why isn't she doing more to promote WNBA? Why isn't she going to the games? Why isn't she like going to All-Star weekend for WNBA? Huh? But yet, they refuse to market the WNBA properly, right? Despite going through this massive overhaul, right? The game's not exciting, not generating the same revenue, but yet they're complaining about having the same revenue as the male counterparts. I'm just asking questions. Now, I just don't want none of you guys that's going to challenge me on this to distract, deflect, and deny what I'm asking. Because that's the triple D of propaganda, right? The 3 Ds of propaganda is distract, deny, and deflect. They distract you by bringing in stuff like, oh man, you're being a sexist. You're being a misogynist. That's the distraction, right? They'll deny the fact by not even answering my question about why does the WNBA not bring in the same revenue as the NBA, but yet you have women complaining about getting the same kind of pay as the male counterparts. Salute to the homie Charlie from Down Under, Kevin Wedderburn. Good morning to you, right? So that's how they distract. They distract you by telling you about you're a goddamn chauvinist and you're a misogynist and all this stuff. They deny the fact by not even answering the question, right? And then they deflect by saying, "Well, what about this?" That's the deflection, right? They'll deflect by saying, "Well, well, Harrison Barnes don't make the same. He's not the same kind of player as Skylar Diggins. Yeah, we can make a case that Skylar Diggins and Liz Cambage is better than Harrison Barnes. Okay, that might be true, but at the same time, the NBA is way bigger than Harrison Barnes. The WNBA is way bigger than Skylar Diggins and Liz Cambage, right? Or Brittany Griner, or Diana Taurasi, right? their biggest star, Maya Moore, is not even playing right now. And what Maya Moore has done is inspirational. That'll be another distraction, right? Now, to be honest with you, right, and rest in peace to the late great Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gigi. Had Gigi made the WNBA, that would have been the individual that they could have marketed around. They would. She's the daughter of Kobe Bryant. They could have used her. They could have used her to market and further drive the revenue up for WNBA. There will be people that would have been going to the games because they would have seen Gigi play. Gigi would have been that star the WNBA needed to take it to get it off the ground. So, but unfortunately, we're not going to get to see that. And that breaks my heart because from the videos I've seen of Kobe Bryant's daughter, Gigi, she was going to be a serious problem. She was going to the games, going to practices. Kobe was teaching her and all that, was coaching her from what I've seen. And she was going to be special in the WNBA. But getting back to this, right? So I just need someone to answer the question for me, right? We're not going to do the triple D. We're not going to distract, deny, and deflect. You're going to answer my question, right? And then the WNBA play less games. So how can you sit up there and say that the WNBA wants the same kind of equal payment? The WNBA players complaining about having the same kind of pay as the NBA players, right? So they generate only $60 million. It's less entertaining, and they play less games. They only played 36 games. The NBA plays 82 games. Well, in this season, it'd be 72. Right? Even if you take playoffs and WNBA finals into consideration, right? The maximum amount of games a team plays is 48. The NBA plays 82 games, and the most amount of games the NBA plays, assuming that games go 7 games, right? So 82 is 28. That's 110 games. The most NBA players can play is 110 games, potentially. When you take playoffs and finals into consideration, considering that the first, second, third rounds and the NBA finals are 7-game series. So, what are they talking about? They were profitable. They were lucrative at one point. When they first came in the late 90s, right? So what are they talking about? I'm just trying to answer the question. What are the WNBA players talking about when it comes to this, right? So they don't bring in the same kind of revenue. They're not as exciting, and they play less games. But they want the same kind of equal pay as the regular NBA players. How do you explain that? How does that even make sense? And once again, I'm not attacking females. I'm not attacking their ability to play the game of basketball. Right? So we're not going to distract. We're not going to deflect. We're not going to deny what we're talking about here. Right? Now, when you play less games, you're going to make less money. And then the NBA owned the WNBA. It was created, the NBA created the WNBA. right? So, I mean, you got the women's professional. So you got the women's professional basketball league, right? So what are they talking about? It was created in 1997. NBA's been around for goddamn near, damn near 100 years. Actually, 70 years. So if they want to raise their salary, they need to raise their profile, right? I'm just trying to tell the truth about this shit. If they want to be paid more, if they want to raise their wages, they want to raise their salary, then they need to raise their profile, right? Now, like I say, they've made strides along the way to do that, right? That's why you see the Candace Parkers of the world on NBA TV on TNT. That's why you've seen what's her face? She used to play for the Los Angeles Sparks. Shani Wnba. That's why you see her on the jump and on other various ESPN platforms, right? We've seen WNBA players on commercials. We've seen WNBA players in TV shows, but that's not enough. So how can we get the WNBA to raise their profile so that way, one, people will go to the games? Because the truth of the matter is, right, the revenue is generated by people going to the games, people buying merchandising and all that, right? That's how the revenue is generated. So how can they going to get? How they going? On my Cash App? Okay, okay, for real. How they going? How they going to do that? Because you got to get people to go to the game. If you get people to go to the game, right? Then they gonna raise the revenue, raise the profile, and that way, WNBA players can get paid, right? Right. Shout out to Jay Dixon in the building. Do they have an All-Star game? Yes, they do. Right. So how can we raise these the WNBA profile so these women can get paid? Like I said before, more women need to come out and show their solidarity and their support for the WNBA. Right? And there's some really talented female players out there. Right? But we can't sit up there and say that, oh, well, just because, they're in the WNBA, this just as talented as the NBA players, then they should get the same kind of money. No, 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 no. I just laid out evidence. They don't even have the same kind of. They don't generate the same revenue. They don't play the same amount of games. There's not the same amount of interest level. So when you got that dynamic going on, then you're not going to expect the same kind of pay. I don't go to bed no 8:30, you clown. I was up all night last night. I was up till like 11 o'clock last night. What the hell you talking about? I go to bed at 8:30. Fuck out of here, dude. Anyway, shout out to the homie DJ Q Mob in the building, man. Shout out to the homie. Anyway, yeah, man. But you guys let me know what y'all think about this, all right? Because I don't feel like I was being too hard on the WNBA players and all that. Like I said, they're extremely talented, and they wouldn't be there if they weren't. But at the same time, we're not gonna sit up here and lie and put on propaganda pieces to make some people feel good, all right? And no, you can miss me with your fake outrage and your selective outrage, because once again, you're not going to distract, you're not going to deny, and you're not going to deflect from the fact that the WNBA is not bringing in the same revenue as the NBA. They're not playing the same amount of games as the NBA. They're not generating the same interest level as the NBA. So you're not going to distract, deny, and deflect from that fact by calling me a misogynist or none of that nonsense that you feminists out there might do, like the Me Too and the Time's Up. That's another question. Why isn't Me Too and Time's Up and all these other groups out here that are promoting women's rights and all? Why aren't they promoting the WNBA? Right? They want to sit up here. Well, we need to have equality. We need to promote change and all that. Why aren't they promoting the WNBA? Why aren't they going out there buying Seattle Storm jerseys and Washington Mystics jerseys and what have you? Right? Why aren't they promoting Ella Don Don the same way they're promoting LeBron James? You know? And the Sue Birds of the world, right? Why aren't they getting the same kind of promotion? Why aren't they getting the same kind of recognition? But yet they want the same kind of pay, right? All these women groups, all these women's advocacy groups and all that, why aren't they promoting the WNBA? See, you can't point your finger at the problem outward when you're not looking within. You cannot point the finger at anyone else unless you first point the finger within. All these women advocacy groups out there, why aren't they promoting the WNBA? Shout out to Cool Digestion in the building. I'm just asking questions, right? You can take it however you want to take it, but you can't deny what I'm asking. You can't distract from what I'm asking, and you can't deflect from what I'm asking, right? They want the same kind of pay, but yet you got all these groups out here that are for women and all that. They're not even promoting the WNBA. You got women personalities that's in goddamn sports, like the Katie Nolans and the Joy Taylors and the Jenny Taffs and the Molly Carams and what's the other girl? The Cassidy Hubbards of the world, right? Why aren't they promoting the WNBA? Right? You figure here, we got 3 months until the NBA season, the WNBA season starts, right? Because normally starts around June. They can start promoting the WNBA right now. So you guys let me know what y'all think about this. Smash a like, hit the subscribe. This your boy. Scream at me. Hey!